Welcome to the Holy Land and the biblical site of Jericho. We're going to see some fascinating things that took place right here in this area, by the area of Jericho. So watch along. This is going to be a great video. Jericho claims to be the oldest city in the world. And we've climbed up here, hiked way up here on top. It might be just a little bit windy. Hopefully you'll be able to hear fine. There's some ruins. These aren't the ruins that were the original Jericho. They're much, much later. But anyway, we hiked up here to this great spot. And so we're going to see some great things about Jericho. It claims to be the oldest city in the world. It is also called the City of Palms. And you can see there's a lot of palms. Joshua 2:1 says, "And Joshua the son of Nun sent 2 men secretly from Shittim as spies, saying, 'Go and view the land, especially Jericho.' And they went and came to the house of a prostitute whose name was Rahab, and lodged there." So this is the area. This is behind us is Jericho, and Rahab the prostitute was from here, and she hid the spies. The children of Israel crossed the Jordan River near here, and you can see in the valley plain there, they came down the hill, and then they camped on the other side of the Jordan, and then they crossed over right here. You are looking right now at the area where the Israelites crossed into the promised land. So in Joshua 3 it says, "So when the people set out from their tents to pass over the Jordan with the priest, bearing the Ark of the Covenant for the people, and as soon as those bearing the Ark had come as far as the Jordan, and the feet of the priest bearing the Ark were dipped in the brink of the water, the Jordan River stopped flowing." But it says here that now the Jordan overflows all its banks throughout the time of harvest. So this was a time when there was a lot of water. So it was particularly high when the Israelites crossed. And it says the waters coming down from above stood and rose up in a heap very far away at Adam, that is beside Zarethan. And those flowing down toward the Sea of Arabah and the Salt Sea were completely cut off. And the people passed over Jericho, opposite Jericho. So you can see they crossed. You can see the Dead Sea in the background there. So they probably crossed maybe 2, 3, 4 miles north of the Dead Sea, because that's where we're at, just right across from Jericho. So the nation of Israel, the Israelites crossed over the Jordan just right here at Jericho. Jericho is also the first city that was captured by the Israelites as they entered the promised land. So you know the story. And it says in Joshua 6:2, "And the Lord said to Joshua, 'See, I have given Jericho into your hand with its king and mighty men of valor.'" And we know that they marched around the city each day for 6 days, and then the 7th day they marched around it 7 times, and they blew their trumpets, and the city walls of Jericho fell in. So it was right here. You can see in the background there, now it's a prosperous larger city, but then it was a smaller city and walled in. So also, as you might not know, the miracle of the sun standing still for a day for Joshua and the Israelite army took place near here. In Joshua 10:12 it says, "And at that time Joshua spoke to the Lord in the day when the Lord gave the Amorites over to the sons of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, 'Sun, stand still at Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Ahialon.' And the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, until the nation took vengeance on their enemies. Is this not written in the book of Jasher? The sun stopped in the midst of heaven, and did not hurry to set for about a whole day. There has been no day like it before or since, when the Lord heeded the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel." So right here close by is where the sun stopped still as Joshua prayed. The prophets Elijah and Elisha came here often, visited here often. In 2 Kings 2:4 it says, "Elijah said to him, 'Elisha, please stay here, for the Lord has sent me to Jericho.' But he said, 'As the Lord lives, and as you yourself live, I will not leave you.'" So they came to Jericho, and it was not far from here where Elijah was taken up into heaven, and Elisha received the double portion of Elijah's spirit. Also, Elisha the prophet healed the water source here in Jericho. So the water in Jericho was bitter for some time, and it was Elisha the prophet who healed the water source, their supply, so it was sweet water. 2 Kings 2:19 talks about this. It says, "Now the men of the city said to Elisha, 'Behold, the situation of this city is pleasant, as my Lord sees, but the water is bad, and the land is unfruitful.' He said, this is Elisha, said, "Bring me a new bowl," and he put salt in it. So they brought it to him. Then he went to the spring of water and threw salt in it and said, "Thus says the Lord, I have healed this water. From now on, neither death nor miscarriage shall come from it." So the water has been healed to this day, according to the word that Elisha spoke. So what you're seeing this day, all of the green, all of the population, Elisha was responsible for that. Elisha is the one that healed the water source here, right here in Jericho, through a miracle that God did. Now, many years later, in Jesus' time, there was a miracle of a blind man healed here as Jesus was on his way to Jerusalem to be crucified. It says in Luke 18:35, it says, "And as he drew near to Jericho, a blind man was sitting by the roadside begging, and hearing a crowd going by, he inquired what this meant. They told him, 'Jesus of Nazareth is passing by.' And he cried out, 'Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me.' And those who were in front rebuked him, telling him, 'Be silent.' But he cried out all the more, 'Son of David, have mercy on me.' And Jesus stopped and commanded him to be brought to him. And when he came near, he asked him, 'What do you want me to do for you?' He said, 'Lord, let me recover my sight.' And Jesus said to him, 'Recover your sight. Your faith has made you well.' And immediately he recovered his sight and followed him, glorifying God. And all the people, when they saw it, gave praise to God. And Zacchaeus, the tax collector, was from here in Jericho. In Luke 19, it talks about the tax collector, Zacchaeus. He said, Jesus was entering Jericho, it says, and as he was passing through, and there was a man named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was rich, and he was seeking to see who Jesus was. But on the account of the crowd, he could not, because he was small of stature, like your humble servant. And he ran on ahead and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was about to pass by that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said, "Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today." So he hurried down and went to the house of Zacchaeus, had dinner with him, and Zacchaeus then was converted to Christ, became a follower. And it says, Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, "Behold, Lord, the half of all my goods I give to the poor, and if I have defrauded anyone of anything, I restore it fourfold." And Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, since he also is the son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save what was lost." So we see many significant things that happened here. So let's just quickly recount and summarize the things that took place here and what we can observe from this biblical site. Jericho claims to be the oldest existing city in the world. It is called the City of Palms. Rahab the prostitute who hid the Israelite spies was from here. The children of Israel crossed the Jordan River near here. It was the first city captured by the Israelites as they entered the promised land. The miracle of the sun standing still for a day for Joshua and the Israelite army took place near here. The prophets Elijah and Elisha traversed here often. Elisha the prophet healed the water source here in Jericho. The miracle of a blind man healed by Jesus occurred here. And Zacchaeus the tax collector was from here and became a follower of Christ right here. So what a beautiful evening as we're looking over the Jericho, the place where the Israelites crossed. A lot of things happened here, and so I hope that you have enjoyed this video. God bless you for watching. Thank you, and God bless.